All right, we are going to look at my shit pile of iPhone 6s backlight jobs. So all of these came in as standard 6s backlights with not very many people disclosing their prior repair attempt. I briefly looked at these and kind of grouped them all together, and this is exactly why Plz Bro solutions drive me insane. So let's take it the first one and see if you guys can tell me why this guy has no backlight. All right, let's see. Let's look at the backlight filter on the good old iPhone 6s. So here's the backlight filter area. And I see a jumper, a crazy jumper. I see one pad, missing pad, and then I see a jumper from the connector to a filter to a test point. Let's use our brains and ask if this jumper solution has any chance in hell of bringing back the backlight. All right, so let's kind of try to understand the iPhone 6s backlight circuit here. So starting from the connector, let's try to trace it. So for that, we can use ZXW tool. All right. Okay, so let's look at ZXW tool if that is still awake. iPhone 6s. Let's bring you guys over here. Okay, so iPhone 6s backlight. So this is the backlight connector. This is the backlight anode line that brings the backlight voltage to the connector. Now let's see, there's a little cap here, which could become shorted to ground, but that's unlikely. And then it goes from here and it talks to this filter. Now let's look and see. This filter has two sides. One side goes to the connector, and the other side of the filter itself is a wire. Where does the other side go? The other side goes back over here to the backlight driver, cap, and diode. So the backlight driver area. Backlight driver area is connected through this filter to the connector. So if this filter is gone, then we no longer have a path of electricity from the backlight driver area through the filter to the connector. So let's look back at the board and kind of remind ourselves what is the problem here. So back at the board, here is the backlight filter area. Filter is missing, and we have one pad present and the other pad is missing. So this one pad, where does it go? This pad corresponds to right here. So the pad that is present goes back to the backlight driver area. Pad that's present goes back to the backlight driver area. So all we need to do is to get from here through a filter. We can't just make a wire. Through a filter to get to the connector. But this itself doesn't talk to the connector. Let's look back at our board. So here we are back at our board. So now this spot we know talks to the backlight driver area. We have to bring electricity from that spot through a filter to the connector. Now let's see what this jumper is doing for us. So this jumper goes from the connector to a filter that somebody put there, and it's connecting to a test spot. Let's try to guess what this jumper might do. So let's look back at ZXW tool and see what that jumper might do. So here's where we need to get to. We need to get from the connector to this spot. That's our goal. Does this jumper do that? Let's see. Where does this test point go? Well, this test point goes to the connector. So what happens if I put a jumper wire, a filter right here, and I jump the wire to here? What happens? Do I have a connection to the rest of the circuit? Do I have a connection to here? No, I don't. so that there's already a wire inside the board connecting this test point to that pin. So the jumper is just connecting what's already connected. It makes absolutely no sense. There is definitely no way that jumper is ever going to do a goddamn thing. So the jumper does not help me get from the connector to where I need to go, which is here. I need to get here. I'm already there. I need to get there. I need a filter here. And so that you know, this is insane. This is just a complete failure to understand what you're doing, and this is, you know, just total Plz Bro. All right, so in fact, in theory, all I would need to do would be to take this jumper and move it over to where it actually goes. But I don't like that because I want to have the filter protecting the circuit. And that's going to come up with the second one of these. I can't just take the wire. I can't just take this wire and stick it over here on the pad where it needs to actually go and restore continuity through my line. I can't do that. And the reason I can't do that is because the 6S is so prone to backlight failures, because most of the world doesn't really realize or believe that you have to actually disconnect the battery. And so this is going to happen again. And if I don't protect that circuit with a good filter, then I'm going to end up creating a lot of havoc back in the backlight driver area. So let's start by getting rid of all of this nonsense and seeing what we can do to fix it. All right, let me close that and see that. Okay. Hello, people in the chat. She's trolling everyone. Grandma will fix it. How late am I? I didn't get the bell. Just started. Whoa. He did the wrong test point. That's right, he did the wrong test point. All right, so let's start by getting this gone. Getting this nonsense out of here. This, I hope you guys can understand it. Just when you see a wall of this kind of shit, that it just drives you crazy after a while, that you know, just what possessed you to think this was a good idea? Where on the internet does it tell you to make this ridiculous jumper? And why would you believe that? All right, so let's get all of that out of there. Oh, these tweezers are janky today. Okay. Let's clean up that little connector spot. I think it's probably okay. There's just some fuzz in there. Okay. So now that we're done with that, and now we're missing this sticker, I'd like to put a sticker back there, just so that that doesn't have a chance to touch any part of the frame. All right, given that, let's see if we can doctor this up any. All right, so as far as backlight problems in the 6S that are missing pads, this problem is probably a pretty good one, because the important part, the part that's actually hard to get to, the backlight circuit area and bringing that wire up to the connector has already been done. So that the fact that this pad is intact, the one that's leading to the rest of the backlight circuit, that's really good news. And it's also good news that I don't see any exposed ground. So that looks good to me, that area. I don't see any exposed ground, which tells me that I'll be able to just drop a new filter onto the one pad. I'm not going to worry about trying to connect it down on its native trace. I just want it to not touch ground. And if it cannot touch ground, then I'll be okay. And then I can make a little jumper solution to bring the other side of the filter back to the connector. Okay, so let's see if we can get a filter on there. So we're gonna grab a new one and just try to drop it down on here. I think I'm gonna pull up that camera flex to just get it out of my way. So this one is number 1 in a series of 2 or 3 where they're supposed to be just straight up 6S backlight jobs. I look at them and every single one of them is just seriously fuck. Come on. All right, let's get that on there. So we're just going to solder down that filter to the one good pad. And we're going to let the ass of it just sort of hang. I'm going to get it down there on the one good pad. And that pad's a little rocky. It's must have had a pretty significant explosion at one point. Oh, that guy's probably still okay. All right, so I'd like to now test to see if that new filter has continuity from here all the way back under to the backlight driver area, but that would require taking off the shield. So I'm only going to do that if I have a problem and if that ends up being absolutely necessary. All right, I think that's fine. Okay, so now let's look and see where can we deal with the other end. So this is the other end that now we could put a jumper from here out to that same test point. That would be a long jumper and it's probably not necessary. So let's look for something closer. All right, so we'll go over to ZXW tool and say, all right, now this side, who do you talk to? So this side of our filter talks to this capacitor pad right there. Also straight onto the actual connector. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so then let's take a look at that and see if we can make a plan here. So under here is a little capacitor. Let's dig it out a little bit. But I want to leave the other guys kind of not exposed. All right, so now we can see this capacitor. So let's do a test with a multimeter and just ask the question, hey bro, are you talking to the connector? Because ZXW says that you're a part of this circuit. And he is. So now we can make a very straightforward little jumper to connect the little end of the cap on the same line to the end of the filter. So we'll make a tiny little overland jumper and see if that will help solve the problem. So let's look for our unlimited jumper, lifetime jumper supply of cut up braid and see if any of these pieces will work. And kind of stick it loosely over there. Jess, I need you to stop streaming so I can stream. Go ahead, Chris, stream away. I had one the other day, says Joe Ham, that had FL4211 blown as well. Well, isn't FL4211 the one that always blows? Yeah, error. And the guy's asking about error 4005, which is bad NAND. Yes. When you used the drill the night before, I had a feeling the video the next day was going to be something along those lines. Yes, it was. Okay, let's see if we can make this jumper. Microscope. So, poor Chris Long. Feel bad for him. There's no sense in waiting for someone else to not stream in order to stream. Just do your work. I mean, streaming is the only reason that I stream is because it is impossible with my internet to upload videos. It killed me to do that one April Fool's video. I ended up staying up until like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it rendered wrong and had an error in the last minute, which was so frustrating. I didn't realize that, so I uploaded it. Upload, of course, failed and stopped a couple of times, and then I finally got it uploaded, it finally processed, and that's when I realized it was missing the last 2 minutes, which after all that, it just seems so weak and lame. So I had to come back in, re-render it. I mean, it took all day long. If you stream, then whatever you want to make a video about is pretty much instant. But I'll tell you what was funny about that night. So I'm waiting on this thing to upload and render and all sorts of shenanigans, and it gets to be about 4:30 a.m. and I was really starving. I didn't intend to stay up all night, so I wasn't prepared. So I ended up driving to, where can I get something reasonably healthy? So I drove to a 7-Eleven because they have bananas. And Christine, did you hear this story? No. And so I get there, and I want to know what you would have done, Christine, because Christine is like super fair and always does the right thing. Isn't that right? Yeah. I think that's totally true. So I get there and go in there, and I find, okay, they have some bananas and they have some like cheese or tuna fish or nuts or something like that. So I'm ready to check out, and I see the entire time that the guy that's working there is stone cold, snoring, sleeping. But you know how it is, where you're not really sleeping. You're at work and you're on the security camera and you're protecting the 7-Eleven from the mayhem of late night in Rush, New York. So I kind of thought he's just listening and keeping his eyes closed because he's really fucking tired. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I get it. So I stand at the counter and I kind of like bang around a little bit, and he doesn't respond at all. He doesn't do anything. And then, 7-Eleven bananas are fucking awesome. They're like, I've thought about this. They're like super yellow, no brown spots. They're never mushy. They're not green. They're like perfect. They're like the kinds that you would see in like a coloring book. They're the kinds that you eat on Sesame Street. They're like perfect yellow bananas like you would draw in a picture. And it makes me think that like 7-Eleven must make their, like when it's the start of your shift, you need to clean the bathroom, you need to, mop the floor, you need to put away the crate of Diet Coke, and you need to stop at the grocery store for the yellowest, most perfect bananas, because we're going to be selling these things for like $2 each. And that's just kind of part of their deal. So this guy had clearly done that, and it was so taxing that he promptly fell asleep. So I start just, you kind of get like kind of louder and louder. So I'm like, I say something pretty loud, like, looks like you need some coffee. and the guy doesn't respond. He doesn't move a muscle. Just like, and then I'm like, oh, come on. And I'm thinking, I really don't want to like go around and like tap him on the shoulder. And if I had cash, I would have just left some cash on the counter and left. But I didn't have any cash. So I've driven all the way to Rush just to get these bananas. So I'm just like, I feel like stealing these. Right. Like this is the middle of the night. I feel like I should steal these. I'd leave a note. Leave a note? Yeah. Like, please call me. Well, I didn't know what to do. Like, I just felt so weird waking up. So I start just kind of like more and more aggressively, sir, hello, sir. And it was really super frustrating. And in the end, I was kind of pissed. I'm checking to see if there's any shorts to ground. And now I'm just checking to see, do I have continuity from this side of my jumper over here? And I do. I'm not 100% sure that that's on the pad going back to the driver area, but it might be. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot to see if that solves or not. So I just ended up screaming something like, I would really like to go home and go to bed myself. And he, and he wakes up and then he just instantly he just walks up and goes, okay, did you want these bananas in a bag? And I'm like, dude, you've been fucking stone cold asleep. And I just wonder how many people would have simply said, fuck you, 7-Eleven. It's not my job to rouse your employees. So thanks for the bananas. Thanks for the banana discount.
I might have thrown something at him.
Thrown something at him?
Yeah.
Like what?
Not hard, but something.
Like a banana?
Yeah. If I was that late and I was that hungry.
Yeah, it was insane.
Or I would have opened the door and just kind of keep going ding, 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 and see if
Oh, I don't think it does that.
Oh.
That would be smart. If I were the guy, and then I'm like, I don't want to like end up getting this guy fired or something like that over this. Mars Sheep says, should have thrown a banana on him. All right, so we are doing our test. Yay, backlight's working. And I just wondered, like, when I told Jeff this story, he said he would have shown his credit card to the security camera and gone like that and then just walked out. Turns out he's dead. Story over. I thought of that. I after 3 or 4, you look like you need some coffee. Hello, sir. Then I started thinking, he's fucking dead. He's dead. What am I going to do? How long has he been dead? And what is my responsibility to the dead man 7-Eleven clerk? Should I lock up? Should I? But you could tell that he was a pretty big guy.
Did he come to, like, he could talk quickly? Like,
Yeah, instantly. He was stone cold sleeping, just like.
That's a pretty good skill to be able to wake right up.
Yeah, and then finally he just went, do you want a bag for those bananas? I'm like, dude, you've been fucking sleeping. Like, no lie.
Did you say that to him?
No, that would be rude, and I am way too nice for that.
That's not rude.
Like, what would you say? You're like the least rude person in the world. You would have said, dude.
I could just see you saying that to him.
Oh, I would say that, but you.
Not that it's rude, like it just comes right out of your mouth.
It just comes right out of your mouth. Well, the best I could do is you look like you need some coffee. That was my like super nice way of saying, stop fucking sleeping. You are driving me crazy, and I'm about to slap you. All right, let's find this guy's paperwork. Which one is this guy? Oh, which one is this guy? Are you that guy? Are you this guy? You're this guy, and you had a cracked screen. Old and new screen sent. Back housing scratched edges, no SIM. All right, well, we will. Is Sharon coming in tonight?
She is not.
She's not.
She's going to be in Wednesday, she said.
Okay. All right, well, I'll put it together then.
I did just get a rush pending iPhone 7 data recovery.
Wait, what?
Rush pending data recovery for iPhone 7.
iPhone 7?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, I'm eating the glass.
Huh? You're eating the glass?
Yes, it's like all over
Oh,
the place.
jeez. Wow,
It's
that's some
totally
serious
smashed.
shatter.
So, see on the form I wrote, completely smashed.
Completely smashed. All right, let's see. What does that even make? This doesn't make any sense. All right, so I will put this back together. So how many of you guys on live stream would have become banana shoplifters on early at 4 a.m. on April Fool's Day? It would be really, you know what? That'd be a pretty funny April Fool's Day joke for the guy to just be like, Oh, April Fools, I was just fucking with you. I've been awake this whole time. I was just gonna see if you were gonna walk out the door, in which case I was gonna fucking leap like a leopard and fly right on, tackle your ass on the ground, lady. That would have been a really good one. That would have been a good one. All right, does this guy even have any screws? J244. Okay. All right, I'm gonna move this one for getting the screws later because I want to fix these all these other ones. All right, next one. This one. Let's see what's wrong with this one. I would have thrown one at him. Well, the peel after I ate it. Fantastic. Okay, Seven Oaks would have stolen one. All right, so this guy, I would like to look up. Let me see if I can show you what some of our work process, since we're doing the Repair Shopper sponsorship now. How do I know what the deal is with these devices? So this is a device that is in my queue. We've got it barcoded on the back. We have the board labeled with a ticket number. I think that might be my personal phone. I need to shut it up. Where is it? Is it in my pocket? Oh, I don't know who that is. I'm not going to answer that. We have a intake sheet that it gets sent with, and the staff that opens the device up will match the info sheet to a estimate that everyone has to get before they send us anything. And so they'll have an estimate online that we will match the device to their estimate and link that to create a ticket. Then it tells me how this arrived. So this tells me that it had a SIM card, which it does, and that this device arrived with the board and back housing. So that way I know I'm not looking for a screen when it's time to invoice this. So this ticket number then will have all of the information that there is on this device in Repair Shopper. So I'm going to see if I can show you what it looks like how we use Repair Shopper without showing customer information. So let me see if I can do that. So I'm going to type into Repair Shopper, which is an online cloud-based system for keeping track of everything. And let me scroll down so that we don't see customer data. So we can kind of show you a little bit about what this looks like. So I found his ticket. So this is this guy's ticket. And we can see our communication so that we know what, oh my God, I gotta turn that off. That's gonna, I have no idea who that is. Some kind of troll. There, off. So you can see kind of our this would have been the original lead. Everything works except the backlight. Able to send in back cover only to get it fixed. And then we're asking him what device, and then he says 6S. So all of this sort of stays on the same, stays in the same spot. And then we have a, hey, we received it. This is a canned response. This is really nice that this canned response goes out to every customer at intake. So it's all like super straightforward. I absolutely love Repair Shopper. Without it, it keeps us organized. Okay, so one of the things though, when you send in a device, when you call or when you write that original estimate, the terms of service require you to disclose any prior repair attempts because our pricing is going to be different if you fucked with it versus if you haven't. So we are starting a new thing that is undisclosed prior repair attempts are going to start getting a mandatory fee for fucking with it, not telling me exactly what you did, because that complicates my job, like in this device. So I'm going to quote differently a straightforward 6S backlight where I know what the signature failures are. I know how the boards fail. But if you've messed with it, then I don't know what you did, and that makes it a lot harder. So let's take a look and see if we can guess what this guy did. So this should be coming in as no prior repair attempts since nothing was disclosed on that. And that's not the case. So now here we are at our backlight area. And what is going on here? Let's move this camera flex out of the way just so that we can see. And what do we have here? We've got a big old solder blob, which is definitely not cool for all the reasons that I described earlier. When you do that, you now have the device at risk. So any future sudden short to ground that shorts the backlight line to ground when you're connecting a screen will now go through. This is a wire, and it's going to go back and burn up your chips and diodes in an area with really tight clearance, and that's going to really suck. We can see that there is damage to the rear camera connector. We can see that we are missing a couple of dudes. We can see that we have damage to this capacitor that's pretty severe. Right here, this guy is pretty severely damaged. So that's all bad. But nevertheless, let's see what we can figure out. So this wouldn't be here if this jumper had worked. So we don't know what the deal is. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check for a short to ground. So did we get any exposed ground that is the reason why this wire is not working? And I mean, this is exactly why I want to know the prior repair attempt. If he were to tell me I did a jumper and it worked, and then when I put the new screen on, it stopped working, that gives me a lot of information. That tells me to just go look at the diode and see if there's, anything burned up there. But without that information, I don't know if this ever worked or if this was just completely unrelated. What the hell is that? What is that? Is that a device?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was not a video.
Oh, a video. Gotcha. All right, so there's no short to ground on the backlight line. So that's good. And then let's see if we have continuity from the end here to the connector. And we do, so that's good. Now we need to kind of worry about these other things just because they look so bad. So let's check. Do we have continuity through? I'm pretty sure that's one of the cathodes, and this might be the other one. Yeah, so that all seems like I have continuity and no short to ground, in which case I shouldn't have a problem unless something else happens. So let's go ahead and check for a short to ground on the image lines. So we'll check some of these image lines. A lot of times customers conflate backlight and image. All right, so there is, I think, no short to ground. All right, no short to ground there. Now we're going to test the 1V8 image line and see, do we have a short there? No. And do we have connectivity through to the connector? And we do. So we've got full continuity through the 1V8 line. And let's just check our 5V7. I think this is the filter on that guy. I honestly don't remember which pin he connects to. All right, so we have a highway and no short to ground on all of the image and backlight power lines. All right, so then what could it be? It could be parts. So we need to see whether or not this is actually a board problem, because you don't have a board problem until you know you don't have a parts problem. So we need to make sure that this isn't this phone can't boot, for example. So I want to confirm that it actually has a backlight problem before I do anything else. All right, let's see what else is going on here. I like your videos. You are my truly inspiration for improving my passion and hobby. Well, thanks for watching. iPad rehab, where did you buy false connector so? Huh? That really, you really lost me on that one. Okay. This guy can suck my dick. Let's get psychopathic constable banned forever. Let's see. I would have put a note on the counter. We'll be back later to pay when you wake up. That would be really funny because he would just throw that away. When Jessa can bench press more than Lewis, she will get more views than Lewis. Yeah, that will never, ever, ever happen. Yesterday, he was so sick, and he went to bench press, and I'm like, you need to, like, do bar only. He lost, like, a bunch of weight. He got trolled by the scale, though. I think this was another ultimate prank. The gym scale was 10 pounds less, so he thought that he had lost, like, 20 pounds in, like, 3 days. He was just like, what the fuck? I think it'd be so hilarious for gyms to just change the scale by 10 pounds and see what the deal is. All right, so I'm going to listen to see if this phone is detected by iTunes, and I don't see any anything on the display, so it does seem like it's either backlight or it doesn't boot. I hear it connect. So then he tried to do his standard 225 bench and, like, couldn't do it. I'm like, dude, just work up from bar only. And then he got mad at something and then fucking did it. Then later I did maybe, I think, 120 for 2. That's the best I could do. All right, let's see if this is connected by iTunes in normal mode. It is. So iTunes recognize it. Let's hear that. Disconnect. Connect. All right, so this phone is on, and it has nothing on the screen, nothing on the known good screen. All right, so it really doesn't have a backlight. So that means we have no choice but to go look at the rest of the backlight circuit. So we'll disconnect the battery and take the screen off. Let's see if we can hunt down this problem. Let's see. I wonder if there's a way to do local repair shopper. What do you mean local repair shopper? Like store a database on your machine? Why would you want to do that? Well, you know, like these guys are just super responsive. Like the number of times where we have had a repair shopper problem in 2 years, I think once for maybe 15 minutes. So they were just really, really responsive to that. All right, I gotta take this whole damn board out now, god damn it. Nice, it's like a patient. Easy greetings from Turkey. Crusty board, yes. All right, we're gonna just do some screws here. Best thing would be to wake him up, but you could always have eaten the banana and left the peel on the counter. Yes, that would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. And then just left. What is the price on fixing the display connectors at your workshop? I have an iPhone 6s Plus. I think it's $100 for one connector and then half price for multiple connectors, same board. Pretty sure. Is that right? I guess we'll see that.
Did you tell her that you were tomorrow?
Is this a 7? No, Christine just showed me a 7 that came here for data, and there's another 7 that's here for backlight. And we're starting to see 7s now. Before it was pretty uncommon. Only like serious lawnmower damage. But they're starting, you know, people are starting to put screens on them, which means technicians are going to start having problems with the gold iPhone 7. The phone connects and boots up, but the middle part of the screen doesn't work. Then you should get a new screen. And if that isn't your problem, then you should look at your connector, and after that, that's going to be pretty open-ended. What is the price on fixing the display? We already looked at that. First, rule of screen repair, disconnect the battery, yes. Is it cathode damage? Well, we already checked that. It could still be that, but we did check to make sure that we had continuity. Just, it's not a great, sometimes you can have bad cathode filters, even though they have they pass a continuity test, so that's all we did. If there's nothing, if I don't see anything under this shield, then I will probably just change those out just to rule them out. All right. Let's get rid of that. Let's get this off. All right, so I got the board out. We'll move that over here. I wonder how many people have stolen food on that guy's sleep watches. I don't know. I mean, it's tough because it's like, as a business owner, I think whoever is paying you to sell people stuff is getting robbed blind. That's not cool. But as a, mom, it's kind of like, I think it would suck to work the graveyard shift at 7-Eleven cashier. That would suck. And so I wouldn't want to cost that guy his job. I think it would be a job that you wouldn't really take unless you really needed it. So that was a tough one. What to do? Customers love that guy. He gets great reviews. Customers love him. I got Miguel Repair wanting to send me a private message. If it's about iCloud unlocking, no. I'm pretty sure Sunday's already going to quit over people banging down the doors about that nonsense. It's anode most of the time, but if it's just half screen is dark, then it's cathode, yes. Okay. Well, let's see what we can see under here. All right, so now we're looking at the backlight area. What does this look like to you? So physical inspection, and the problem jumps right out at you. What is it? Who can tell me what's wrong with this phone just by using their eyeballs? What looks weird? What looks bad? Nobody knows what looks bad on this board. Let me get rid of that. Yeah, good job, Johan. It's totally the diode. Can you see that? That is burned. That is burned. Let's look at it really, really close, because this is where your eyes are your best tool. One diode has left the building. One diode is made like Elvis. And then this other diode, I'm not sure I can get enough light on it for you to see as clearly as I can see it under the microscope without the camera. But let's look at that. Look at that. See how that's burned? Look at how just friable that is. That's not normal. It's all burned up. That's fire. And if you did that to some other components, you can't really, it does, you can just sort of scrape it, but it's not, if it's not burned, nothing happens. But this is burned. All right. So it looks like someone tried to remove iCloud by drilling out the backlight diode. It's the alternative facts way of getting iCloud removed. All right, so this is going to be a tough one for me, decision-wise, because I can replace this diode with an iron. If I put hot air on it, if I want to put that diode back, that's going to bother the chip. Probably it'll bother the chip, and then that will cause problems. I could try it, but I'm a little bit tempted to just... I'm a little bit tempted to employ karma. Karma is if you don't disclose your prior repair attempt, which resulted in you doing exactly what I said, which is you put a jumper and then shit happens again, and now your jumper doesn't act like a fuse like a filter does, and so the damage goes back and fucks up your diodes. Well, you know, you did that to yourself. You're making my job hard. You're not telling me about it. You know, I kind of get a little inclined to just leave you with your one diode. That'll be a tough one. I'll probably end up putting it back, but I will regret it when I fuck up the chip. Yay, Ethernet cables. Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna just kind of get this area cleaned out a little bit. The only way I've seen actual iCloud unlock is by changing the serial number in the NAND, which is not gonna work. Plz Bro, that's not a solution. You can change the serial in the NAND, but the unique burned-in hardware ID in the CPU doesn't really care if you don't have a match all the way around it. So changing the serial number in the NAND is not going to help you solve a problem. So all I'm doing here is trying to get some of this underfill out just so that I can get a clean area to work in here. This is low heat that's not going to bother anything. Shit, did I just pull up the pad on the diode? That sucks. Oh no, that's a piece of something else. What's that? Oh, stuff? Yay. Wait, what? Who is that from? What? Can you bring me all the packaging for that and I'll just look at it? There we go, nice and clean. Oh, an iPad. Yeah, you can do that on an iPad, but not on iPhone. Not on an iPhone.
So I'm gonna ask the other people in the office because it only has 2 items, which are those 2, the Ethernet and the switch.
All right, so what's the deal? This is one box.
This box was
Yep.
opened and had all these things in it.
So Christy opened it?
Yes. So those 2 things are for that receipt, and these 2 are just in it, and I don't know exactly
All right, send a note to Christy to ask her where the packaging is for that, because this is something that I think somebody sent us. So we need, so it's like not cool to just throw shit away and not know who that was.
Okay.
So just like send a note and ask her.
Okay.
She probably just opened it and said this all looks the same and stuck it together. When is she going to Croatia? Thursday? The itsy bitsy diode crawled off the iPhone board. Okay. So there we go. Hey Jessa, hey guys, how are we all today? Tarman, did you send us something in the mail? Because my staff has a bunch of like stuff here that they don't know what it is. I asked them to go look up the packaging. All right. Jessa is mad when people don't tell her devices have been, quote, fixed. That would be an air quote kind of thing. Fixed. And by fixed, I mean not fixed. Oh, do I put that other diode on and risk blowing up the chip because I think I only have one chip and I think I need it for the other repair. Dilemma, dilemma. All right, let's see what I can do for a backlight diode. Let's look up, what can I do for a backlight diode? What is this? My diode stash is, hey, picked it on the first try. All right, we're gonna grab out a new diode. There's a good looking diode. I feel like the dot goes on that side, but I'm not 100% sure. So I think I'm gonna look around. What is that? Let's see if I can find an iPhone 6S board. That one probably doesn't have a diode on it anymore. Oh look, it sure does. It does. This board's seen better days. Look at that. This was when this is a donor board from the first time I tried to figure out iPhone 6S long screw damage. That's a lot of traces. You gotta know where they all go. That sucks. Good thing it doesn't happen that much. We've only seen maybe 2 cases of it. And it was not fun. I don't wish that on anyone. It has not become the common thing anyway. All right, so I can see now that my orientation mark, which is super important for a diode, is on the side that kind of faces the coils. So my donor board has confirmed that I am in the right orientation for that. And I'm really torn whether or not I should use hot air. I guess I will. I will, because I'd rather have this done than have to come back to it. All right, let's at least get this as leaded as possible. Okay. All right, now I just did one of the other kind of diodes the other day, so I'm sure of its orientation. At least I think I know. Which idiot vandalized that poor board? That board was beat like a red-headed stepchild. Mama June, I guess? I don't really know who sent it in. We'll have to look at our kind folks at Repair Shopper Ticket and tell us. All right, pretty sure that these diodes go with the thing that looks like a domino pointing towards the coils. Pretty sure they go like that. But let's check on the rate board. Yeah, letters and domino. Yep, that's how they go. All right, now let's try and see if we can just put some hot air so in a way that we stay away from the goddamn chip. Show us the 2 fireboards. My pets? If they were around, I would. Where are they? Where are my pets? I just cleaned out my desk and I moved them somewhere. The next time I see them, I'll leave them out to show you guys my pet collection. I wanted to like kind of hang them on the wall and have them be working and show them off. All right, let's see. All right, let's see if we can get these diodes on here without bothering the coil. Don't get bothered, coil. Let me see if I can draw the feed off of that with something else. We'll just do that. That's probably a bad idea. Show us your fireboards. Come on. Get over there. There you go. All right. Let's kick that off and we'll just hope that we didn't bother our driver. So we'll let that cool down and see if that solves it or not. All right, what's going on in chat? I sent 2 things for your new computer. Yay. Let's see. All right, Christine, bring us that stuff. Let's see if this is the right stuff. Tarman, by the way, sent us a cane.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Yes. Did you want to give him a middle finger or anything like that? Wow, Tarman sent us like stuff that's actually useful instead of a cane. Yay.
How generous.
Yes. Thank you, Tarman. You're my BFF now. So let's see what he's telling. Let's make sure this is right. The package from Tarman is a bunch of iCloud phones for you to drill into. Ha ha ha. You mentioned it needed HDMI port and a Wi-Fi card. Yes. Yay. So new computer doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Oh.
And now it is.
Wow.
Do you want to learn how to install a Wi-Fi card? Every woman should know how to install a Wi-Fi card. Just like backing a trailer. It's essential.
Oh, I gotta work on that one first.
Yes. Yes. You can't back a trailer?
No.
That ends now. Like put a note on team chat for team mating. We're gonna meet in the parking lot and we're gonna drive some campers around and move them around and stuff like that. Yay, awesome. Well, thank you, Tarman. That's like bona fide useful stuff. Yay. All right, let's see. FRP unlock as a service. Let's see. Fireboards. Jailbreaking the iPhone 4 is cool because you can downgrade it back to iOS 5 or 6. That is cool. It's like a nostalgia board. What kind of silicone does Apple use for iPhone rework? No one would possibly know the answer to that. Like, this is what would be required to answer that. You would have to scrape a piece of what appears to be silicone off, go down to your chemistry department and put it in the mass spec, and, no, I mean, no one has any fucking clue. There's no way to know. You have to sing to the coil or it gets jumpy. Is that right? Legit life skills. Yes. I think this is the thing I think should be included in Fascinating Womanhood, that like sort of like a end chapter that was like, all that's well and good. You should occasionally let your man kill a spider for you and feel all awesome. And does Mike kill? Are you afraid of anything? No. Did you read Fascinating Womanhood?
No.
Well.
But I have some good advice.
Yeah. Well, it says things like, we were talking about it when we went to Nebraska about how there's the kernel of truth in there where, men really, I don't think, wish that the women in their lives were not capable. Like, true incompetence is disgusting for everyone. But every now and then, sort of can you open this pickle jar, goes a long way to stroking the masculine ego. And that's kind of, it's kind of a good thing. It makes them feel good. So fine, open all the pickle jars. What do I
So
care?
I think you should teach Mike how to back up a trailer. And then
Wait, Mike doesn't know how to back up a trailer?
he does it painfully. And then when he knows, he'll feel like so good about it. Versus
Yeah.
me learning.
Yeah, that is we need Mike to be more fascinating. Yes.
Yeah.
Mike and me are going to have a date, and I'm going to teach him how to back a trailer so that he can impress Christine. And when he does it, you have to be like, oh my God, that is so amazing.
Yeah, like does it the first time.
Yes, the first time. Yeah, because it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is funny because that's like one of my favorite superpowers other than board repair is that I can back a 40-foot trailer into in between two trees on the first try, while all the old men who, when they see a lady driving, a turbo diesel with a big ass RV, they are like, oh, let's come see the show. They'll all come out. And I don't know, like 3 or 4 times I have had to make some tight little put it in there, and then it's like, old men got props from the old men at the campground. That is, they fascinated me. Those guys, it was fascinating. Yes, I want Mike to get props from the old men at the campground.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta work on that. All right.
Start our camping trip off.
Yeah, exactly. It's a stressful thing. It is a stressful thing. Okay. They sound sexual, says Ewell Adams. I don't know what that possibly has to do with backing up trailers. IR specs are, yeah, that's true. Our flag is mine. You sound like you work in a chemistry lab. Do you want to scrape off some silicone off of of an iPhone board just to tell us, oh yeah, this is a Dal 390. Who cares? Backing a trailer is easy. Parking it is another. Yeah, like backing it into a spot. Backing a trailer, it's hard, especially with my truck is a long bed, so that is tough. I think it would be easier. It's a 5th wheel. Where's the battery? Where's my test battery?
iPhone 6 backlight that has a faulty camera and faulty speaker. Is that going to have a different? And this is a 6S.
A 6S?
Yes.
Just let me look at it real quick. Like sometimes if that's water damage or something, they need to know right away. I don't see any backlight, boo. Right, which one was it? This?
That black one, there's nothing on it.
Oh, okay. No backlight, boo. Boo, boo, boo. All right, what's the lead on this?
It says, no display, possibly damaged LCD connector, faulty camera, speaker, ribbon. But it's in here for backlight repair.
Is it from a shop?
Michael Young. Doesn't look like a shop, no.
Oh, okay. We got some screws. All right, let me just look real quick and then I'll hand it right back to you. He's missing screws, so you can kind of note that.
Yeah. There's some on the back, but I don't know exactly what they are.
All right, let's see if this is fucked up. When can I come by for my first math lesson? Math, I don't remember talking about any kind of math. This phone seems a little bendy. All right, he has classic backlight failure. And then, are his other complaints all sort of screen related?
Well, camera, ribbon.
Front camera? Oh, he's got image problem. Yeah, so this had a big short. He's got an image line down, a backlight line down. Okay, so is it... Let's see if he's done anything kind of fuckery on here. All right, just take it in and say, you know, you have a obvious image fault and backlight fault, which we can solve both of those under your backlight quote. But you, we'll let you know if there's any kind of parts issues that we can quote you for separately. And let us know if you want us to go ahead with that, and then put it in rush pending, and then move it to R2 if he answers you. Yep. Okay. All right, so that didn't work. Let's see if we can figure out why. Oh, fuck. I can't believe I didn't correct his jumper before I started that thing. What an idiot. What an idiot. I totally forgot about all of this front nonsense. Now let's get this at least corrected before we do anything else. God bless it. My old man was a truck mechanic by day and a hauler by night. He said some women are far better drivers than any man. Others just think they are. Yeah, that's right. But you know when the old men come out and give you applause. That's how you know. That's how you know you have arrived at the campground. I don't really get what there is to driving. Like, you know, is driving like really even a skill? Is it? I mean, I think that maneuvering into a spot is a skill, but
When you're looking through a mirror, it's different.
when you're what?
When you're looking through your back your mirror and
Oh, I don't do that. That would drive me crazy.
you turn your head.
Yeah, you turn your head and then you just drive it. Like, here's what you do. Here's the secret to backing a trailer. You can tell Mike this is like homework. The secret to backing a trailer is you forget all that mirror nonsense. Some people can do that, but I think it's a lot more intuitive and a lot more natural if you turn your head and put your, hand on the wheel, and you put your other hand, like on the back of the seat, and then in your mind, think of yourself as holding the handle of a wagon with your kid in it. And if you were pushing a wagon with your kid in it, it would be intuitive how to maneuver the wagon handle so that you could push your kid into the, one way or the other. Like, that seems somehow natural. Okay. And so if you kind of are driving and you just think of your truck as this wagon handle, then it like becomes really second nature, and you don't have to think about like in the mirror when when you put your hand at the bottom and go this way, it goes that way. Like that's still, it always feels weird. Yeah. But that whole like wagon thing has made it feel supernatural. So then you just kind of adapt as it starts to go. All right. Do you have any camping trips planned? Wait, don't we have one planned that we're doing in May?
Yeah, I think I want June.
What about Darien Lake?
Oh, no.
Wait, no?
I think
Is nobody going to do that anymore?
Adrian's talking about going somewhere else, similar to Darien Lake. Maybe in Ohio?
Ohio? I'm not driving any kind of Ohio. An amusement park kind of place?
Yeah, like I can't remember the name. It's well known.
That sounds like a total nightmare. All right, let's
We're
get.
going to the Hickory Hill that weekend.
Oh yeah. I like Hickory Hill.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that had the giant vine?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good times. All right, let's get a filter back on here. Nobody can see any of that. Let's see.
Have you ever gone camping in April?
Gone camping in April? Sure, when I was living in Maryland.
Well, yeah.
All the time. It was great. I think when we first got the pop-up, we went. Well, guess what the kids did today?
What?
Take a wild guess.
They wanted to go to some pond.
Close, very close. They went swimming because today was the 40-degree day. That was the first day that the freaking outdoor pool at the fancy gym opened up.
Oh, they went swimming at the fancy gym?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I guess. I mean, I can't imagine it. You know, like, what?
Oh, I was thinking at their grandparents. I was thinking
Oh, no,
pretty
God,
cold.
no. Oh, heavens, no, no, that's way too cold. I'm just going to change that up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, fancy gym.
Oh, fun.
I guess. I mean, I can't, it's so cold.
Isn't it heated?
It's heated, but
Yeah.
it's not like hot tub. Which, by the way, when do you want to go in the hot tub?
Name the day.
All right, how about today?
Today?
Yeah, that's how I roll. Adrian came over yesterday.
Oh, good. Well, we should try to get some people.
Yeah. Well, let's do a different day this week then. I was super impressed with Adrian. Adrian looks amazing and has gone nuts. But she has the same back injury from deadlifting that I do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is kind of motivating and depressing.
Is she still working with that health coach?
Oh, yeah. She's gone fucking insane nuts.
Macro stuff?
Oh, yeah. Like, absolutely crazy. Like, she will weigh everything that ever goes in her mouth. She will do this. Like, this is how obsessive. She will weigh chicken before she cooks it. Calculate with, like, a fucking abacus how much protein is in the uncooked amount of chicken. So let's say it's 22 grams of protein in some amount of chicken. Then she will cook it because it will shrink down as water leaves the chicken.
Yeah.
So then she will know she has that same amount of protein now in a lower volume. Then she divides by to figure out per gram of what she cooked is how much protein. And it's just fucking insane. And then she like kind of parcels that all up. She's been doing that for months. Yeah. Because she is going to guess what she's working for? Working towards her big goal.
A certain weight?
No. Nobody cares
No,
about
why
weights.
would you do that? Why would you?
Why would I make you guess? Because
No, why would you be nice
Oh, why
to
would
your
you?
food to that extent?
Because you know how she is. There's this one thing that she's always wanted to do, and nobody ever does it. Yeah.
Model?
Yes.
Oh.
She wants to do a Wonder Woman photo shoot for a calendar. Like, that's so her, you know, like, you know how she wanted to do like the bunch of moms go out and do that photographer lady. Yeah. Which is, I think, a great like goal. Well, she could totally be an awesome Wonder Woman. Be a fucking amazing Wonder Woman. My friend Adrian. Yep. Okay. That's not a diet, that's a mental illness. She is, it's a hobby. You know, it's not, she's not on a diet. She is exploring the hobby of bodybuilding. Me, I'm exploring the hobby of powerlifting, which is not nearly the same. Powerlifting is just about being strong, which is fun. Bodybuilding is about being strong, but also making sure you have like no body fat and being really, really obsessive. It's a sport, so she's doing this, you know, she's just kind of doing this for fun. I mean, I think it's really fun to be a hobbyist. Like, it's a fun life to just be like, why not try, could I be a bodybuilder? You know, like, I never would have thought I would have really liked powerlifting as much as I have. You know, but there's all kinds of hobbies. Gardening, couponing. I did extreme couponing. That shit's some fucking fun, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. No backlight. We cleaned up and changed those filters, but. Pretty sure those diodes are right, but I could be wrong about that. Life is too short to be that compulsive. That is a great idea, a photo shoot. Yeah, absolutely. So Karen is the power lifter. Awesome. Is she still doing it? After she did wrestling. Ooh, that sounds fun. Christine, should we try wrestling? No. No? No wrestling? You don't want to get like, what is it, club ears or whatever it is?
Cauliflower ears.
Cauliflower ears. Yeah, that terrifies me. I'm afraid of that. What hobby do you think it would be fun to try?
Dog grooming.
Dog grooming? I don't know. Sunday was talking about dog grooming the other day. Mostly it was about how she drops her dog off and then forgets it. Because that's what those guys are going to do next door. They're dog groomers. Yeah. Did you know that? I guess, but because Sunday's like, where are the dogs going to poop and pee? And I'm like, do you go to the hairdresser and be like, where can I take a shit? I can't hold it. No, you just don't worry about it. They're going to pee at home before they come. And she's like, no, I leave my dog there. It takes like 4 hours for dog grooming. What? And I'm like, how much do they charge for that? Oh, it's $100.
Yeah.
And it's just like, geez, that is insane.
No, that is pretty lame dog grooming hobby. I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna go in diode mode and check across this diode and see if this diode is good. Should be good. Well, let me just make sure that's the line side. And let's check in the opposite direction across this diode. So we're just measuring for healthy diode. All right, healthy diode. Diode can go through. Let's see. I guess I could replace this cathode filter. But other than that, I think that this backlight circuits are simple. They have a chip that gets enabled from the CPU. They send out a anode line that has to go through a diode, and there's a cap on that line that can't be shorted to ground, and this one's not. So here's the chip. They have coils. So these coils are switching coils that the chip switches the coil. Those look okay, and they wouldn't fail in a way that would take out no backlight, I don't think. And if so, you could tell. And then usually the problem is sort of a highway problem when it's not short to ground. Now look at that filter. That looks a little bit weird. All right, so then it comes up over here. So let's just make sure that that filter is at least good for continuity. So we should have a path, a highway from back here all the way to the connector. So we should get a beep, and we do, which means that we've got a line through our filters. And I'm pretty sure we already tested, yeah, the cathode 1 into the connector. cathode 2. I'm pretty sure that's what those are. All right, so then in that case, we would next say, all right, well, we've replaced our diodes and we've replaced our filters. So the next thing that could have been damaged would be the chip itself. So next we would replace this chip. But I don't think that I think I have one. So I may have to kind of like go harvest and reball, but everything else looks good. So this one would be replace the chip. And I need to get out of here because it's way later than I thought. But let's look real quick at the other one, and then I'll have to come back and replace that chip. That's this one. So this one is yet another prior repair attempt. Playing around with making stuff out of leather. That sounds fun. I'd never hear about the end of it from Lewis, so I don't think I could do that. All right, now here we are kind of back at the same spot. Now, this one's a little bit more obvious. What's wrong with this backlight circuit? This one has clear blown diode. So the little diode is absolutely burned up there. This one is a lot more severe. Look at the coil. You can see the shit bubbling up out of the top of the coil. See that? You can see the little green shit coming out of it, and you can see the crack in it. So this coil may have a reduced inductance. It's not going to fail and not make a backlight, but it could very well have a reduced inductance, in which case we would need to replace it. And when you've got that much going on, when you had, this diode is lifted, but it's still present. When you've got a bad diode and you've got a bad coil, there's really only one way that that could happen. You had to have a serious short to ground. And let's look around to see, it looks like somebody's been here and replaced the filter already, but that doesn't really have a way to become the cause of a short to ground, so it's not going to have anything to do with that. So I don't see anything else having been changed, which tells me that it's likely that the short is probably not, it may not have been cleared. So I'm guessing this would only happen if you had a strong short. And since nothing was replaced, I bet that short is still there. So let's look for it. So let's see if we have a short to ground on the backlight line. Let's see. Yep, so we have a short on the backlight line. Now, of all of the components, what could become the cause of a short to ground? So you have to really look at and study the schematic and think about this. This is a good question. You know, could the filter be why there's a short to ground? Would a bad filter cause a short to ground? Could this be why there's a short to ground? Bad filter blew up, now it's shorted to ground? What do you think? Hello from France. Answer, no, a filter cannot be the cause of a short to ground. No, because a filter has no way to become a wire to ground. There's no ground. There's no way it could magically become connected to ground. So not that. So then you have to kind of think about all of these other components and figure out what could be the cause of the source of the short to ground. Could it be the diode? No, the diode doesn't have a path to ground. Could it be that diode? No. Could it be the coil? Can a coil magically connect itself to ground? No, coil is just a coil of wire. So what could it be? It could be the chip, or more likely, it's going to be a cap. All right. So I think since it is 7:30 that I need to get out of here. And this one is also going to be a pretty big repair, because when you've got this much damage, you're going to have to change out this entire circuit, which is real similar to what we just did and still need to do. I think I'm going to have to go reball some chips. Come on. So my stopping point is just going to see if I can get this cap out. and clear that short to ground. But it's not going to actually work for backlight unless I come in and replace everything. I need to go home and order some stuff. We used up a bunch of these backlight chips. I haven't really seen very many of these backlight failures at the chip level on the 6S, because it's just the filter protects it. It's just the filter. Until I started getting these prior repair attempt ones. Alright, let's see if that has cleared the short, or if the short is under the chip. Let's find out. All quiet. Ground side, line side. Alright, so that means that this guy has turned himself into a wire. Let's stick him over here so we can interrogate him. Just to see what we already know is true. Let's put him here under the bright light. Shine a light in his face. Are you a wire? Yes, I am. I knew it. Alright, so we'll feed him to the wolves. So that's the underlying defect is solved on that one. And so, you know, each one of these has been something different. And all of these are pretty much, you can save yourself a lot of time if you just stay super careful with these and don't try to change a 6S screen without disconnecting the battery. And when something happens, you know, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, then just like send it out while it's easy. These are straightforward repairs. Because otherwise, if it comes with prior repair attempt, then it turns into these. You know, like I have to go order a chip for that one, or a reball, or a chip. I think I have one, so I have to decide which one of these has been here the longest that gets the chip, and the other one has to wait 2 days. But yeah, otherwise you got to do a whole bunch of work. That cap is really stuck on there. All right, great job. Thanks for the lesson. Wouldn't ask unless I hadn't already spent hours and days and weeks poring over every data sheet. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you still talking about the silicone? What are you trying to do? What is this guy looking for? An old mass spec.
Picture. Can I look at it?
Yeah, that looks horrible.
What? Aww.
I've got an iPhone 5C. Yeah, see their hair and their like face and stuff. Jeff did their hair.
I knew this. It's
The girls?
Yes. What's wrong with that? I love
Fake
that it's not
smile.
well,
It's like total fake smile.
it could be totally worse. Let me show you Daniel someday. This one is totally a Sam smile.
Yeah, that's how her face looks. Yeah, that's like totally.
And this is Betsy.
No, that's Maisie.
Oh, right, Maisie. Sam.
Maisie looks like Sam. Yep.
Yeah.
Sam's was really good though.
Yeah, that is such a scam.
I've got an iPhone 5C and the JTAG of the CPU is marked NC on the datasheet I have, but it sounds like it might possibly be a lead to nowhere type NC. So who cares? How is that at all a problem or even something to even spend a second on? I don't get it. Why would you give a shit about JTAG of the CPU to begin with? I don't understand. What are you trying to do? Oh, you're trying to like figure out iCloud unlock or something like that. Yeah, give up on all that. Okay, so I think that we are done because I gotta go. Someone I trust who works with Apple devices managed to get it done on a store-bought iPhone, leading me to believe there's got to be a tap for JTAG somewhere on it. What? Are you talking about iCloud Unlocked? I will not discuss iCloud Unlocked at all. And you're barking up the wrong tree. Okay. So we are done, and don't fuck up your 6S backlights. Please, bro.